right, welcome to Liquid Lunch. It's me, Hugh, and I have Miranda as my co-host today on a Thursday.
Hello.
And it's been a while, Miranda. I didn't even tell you the whole story since the last time you were actually... Did we? Yeah, we did co-host.
We did co-host a few times.
We did it down at the Harbour Castle, right?
Yes, definitely. Gold leaf.
It was great. And now we're doing it again. It's a long story. We'll get to that after the show. But right now we're going way back. We've got... what should I call you? Should I call you Sasha?
Sasha, sure.
Yeah? Sasha Braun is here. And Sasha is... we go way back, right?
Yeah.
Like 20 years about...
Yeah, over since beginning of January of 96.
96.
When Transforum and Idiosyntactics had that pirate radio broadcast.
Exactly. See, and that's
Pirate
kind of...
radio.
We had. That's how this kind of got started.
Yeah.
Because we were publishing a newspaper at the time.
Right.
We had a big space at Bathurst and Queen.
Right. 183 Bathurst.
Yeah.
Right.
And
we brought a 25-watt transmitter that was set up on the roof.
Yeah.
And ran open mic type of pirate radio parties at Transforum Gallery, which got very popular.
Yeah.
And we called it Mighty Mono 99.1. Because that was the...
Because it was mono, even though it was FM. It was only mono.
Well, it was also the frequency open before CBC. Radio 1 got its CRTC license. We were using that.
Yeah.
For 3 months, from what I remember, until Industry Canada closed us down.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was fun.
Yeah.
The guys from Industry
Do we
Canada.
want to know why they closed you down?
Because we're totally
Because our license, it's pirate radio. Yeah. Plus, it's 25-watt transmitter, so it covered pretty much the entire downtown.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
It was great, actually. I wish we would have documented it better.
Yeah.
I blew it. You know, the CBC was actually doing a story on us.
Well, back then it was before a digital kind of revolution, so you still had to develop film and so on.
They've progressed since then.
Well,
That's right.
but really it was then we wanted to go TV. It was $100,000 for an edit suite back then, and the cameras were ridiculous.
Right.
And then how do you broadcast? The internet wasn't even mature enough yet, right? So.
Right. It was in 96. The first web started in 93.
Yeah, I know. It was nuts.
So it was recently actually the first web page going online was anniversary.
And you were our first web designer. Sasha developed our website for Transforum.
It's still up somewhere there.
Yeah. And you know, I have the transforum.ca domain.
Yeah, we should do something about it.
We should.
I hear you're going to restart the Transforum newspaper. So
we're going to restart a newspaper, but I don't know, maybe the branding needs to be consistent with that channel.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, it's part of the family of brands, so may as well use it. You know?
It is.
We can reuse the old website as well.
Okay, now, Sasha, enough about all that old stuff, right?
More about you.
I want to talk about the flat Earth thing. Let's get into that.
Flat Earth, yeah, it's a very hot topic right now, yes.
Yeah. Have you been following that, Miranda, on
I
the
have
internet?
not. Please explain the concept for all of us.
Well, it started, for me, it's searching for the answers on the gravity hoax and questions associated with a gravitational model versus electric universe model. Like, say, you have a dichotomy there of Einstein and Newton, all those gravity guys, versus Tesla and sort of the electric explanation of the sun and all that.
The sun being an electrical phenomenon, not a hot fusion reactor.
Right, and like gravity-driven, all that cosmology.
Yeah.
So it's the, and then of course it leads to the moon landing controversies and so on, and eventually. There was a guy who started it called Eric Dubé, who published a first book in 500 years on flat Earth. That he stumbled across a topic and searched for books available and realized that there was a niche market since the last book was published like 5 centuries ago.
Mm-hmm.
So he published the book, and I think he published a few of them since. And that kind of started the ball rolling in 2015. And so now a year later we have like Sasha Colin and Patricia Steer and other people getting on a
Rob
board with it.
Skiba is doing a lot of flat Earth stuff.
Yeah, there's lots of people. So there's obviously there's like as far as empirical observations go, the Earth is flat, and there's various way to verify it. Like independent balloons show that no matter how high the horizon is always at the eye level, and there's
there's something I just want to say. I've been thinking about this too, and really because we're all like, we don't really know if it's flat or not. We have no first-hand experience of it, but there's something we can do, because I know, my hometown is in the Niagara Peninsula, right? So many times driving along the QEW on the south shore of Lake Ontario, you can see Toronto across the lake. Now, we know we could do the math on this.
Yeah, you can still see.
No, I'm not saying that that's proof, because we haven't done the math yet, but we can see Toronto across the lake. We know that that's 30 miles or whatever it is. We should be able to calculate the...
Well, people did calculate it. In the open oceans, you can see like lighthouses for like hundreds of miles, which is, of course, if the Earth had a curvature of 25,000 miles of curvature, like circumference of the equator. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
So that's you have basically 8 inches per square mile curvature, which gives you coincidentally 0.666 ratio. So which is like, speaking of 666, it appears within a round Earth model when they say the Earth is tilted 23.4 degrees, 90 degrees minus 23.4 gives you 66.6 degrees. And of course, it's not the tilt of the Earth itself, it's basically how the sun travels every day around the North Pole, which is if you look, the flat Earth model, it's a UN flag. If you can imagine UN flag logo, that's your flat Earth model, with the North Pole in the center and Antarctica being circumference. And so the sun travels from 23.4 degrees northern latitude at the Tropic of Cancer, and then it's going over the year, speeding up to the Tropic of Capricorn.
So you've done all the research as far as all of this?
Well, as far as the tilt goes, it's 23.4 degrees of the Tropic of Cancer when the sun starts its journey in June 21st of the summer solstice, and then it's goes to speeds up to 23.4 degrees of southern latitude of Tropic of Capricorn, and that's your reason for that 23.4 degrees. That's reference to how far sun goes from the one tropic to another tropic, and in equinoxes it's crossing the equator.
Yeah, the longitude.
So it's not that the
latitude.
Earth itself is tilted, it's just describing how the sun travels around. So the sun speeds up and slows down during its transit throughout the year, from tropic to tropic. And the moon goes with the same speed, and therefore that's the old tales of a hare and the tortoise, or the fox and the tortoise.
Who gets there first?
That the moon gets back to the solstice time first, because it goes with this same constant speed, while sun initially overcomes tortoise, it gets faster, and then it slows down, and hence the tortoise wins in the end. So those are the metaphors describing a transit of the sun.
No, Sasha, okay. Now, I know what you're saying, but I don't really know what you're saying. So I understand from...
In layman's
but
terms.
As far as the ball Earth in the 666 reference, another one is that they say the Earth is spinning around the sun with the 66,600 miles an hour speed. So obviously those are metaphors that they use to describe this false sort of cosmology, because the Earth is stationary, it's not spinning at 1,100 miles an hour around its axis and 66,600 miles around the sun, while the sun is traveling at additional like 450,000 something, and then the Milky Way is traveling 670 million miles an hour. They say everything is spinning. Meanwhile, if you put long exposure camera, all the stars make circular patterns around North Pole, So around
you
the
still have fixed
Polaris, yeah, all the stars make perfect circles. So with all that spinning around,
how can they be fixed when it's spinning?
Yeah, empirical evidence shows us that it's not spinning, and it's actually stars that making rotation and perfect circles around North Pole.
Wow.
Okay, Sasha. Now, okay, we're not gonna be able to prove it to people right now whether the Earth is flat or not. Even with those stats, we're gonna just say people can go look at it. But what I want to talk about is the significance of if the Earth was flat, what does that mean versus what we've been told, and that is that we are an insignificant planet at the edge of a galaxy, like in the middle of this vast space.
Well, that's the thing. It's the traditional or religious and kind of traditional cosmologies. There's all said that the Earth is flat, and there's various kind of speculation how it's set up with domes, various domes of spheres above it, and whatever. Some say there's a hole in the middle of the North Pole with a Mount Miro, like Iron Mountain rising there or whatever. But it's those areas are classified, the Antarctica and the Arctic, so we cannot really verify it. But there is interesting reports from like General Admiral Byrd, a famous American explorer who went there several times and had very interesting things to say what he had.
Well, if they're classified and we're not allowed to go there, then that's not.
Well, that's why we're only stuck with kind of odd examples of what there's actually happened. There's a Canadian woman who went to Antarctica and kind of disappeared there, but the rumors have it that she left the notes behind it. But as far as the distance of the sun from the Earth and all, they say there's like 93 million miles away. Meanwhile, the experiments like Sasha Cohen on YouTube.
You mean Sasha Baron Cohen?
No. Sasha Cohen is a girl on YouTube who did interesting calculations using trigonometry of taking Macabo, Brazil, on equator time, say 10:33 a.m. when the sun at 60 degrees. On the if you measure the angle in the sky, and then at the same time is at 2:33 p.m. on the Africa, on the other side of the Atlantic in Malaba, equatorial equatorial.
So how does
Africa? They also have at 60 degrees sun. So you calculate equilateral triangle, So you can calculate that. The distance is not 93 million miles, but it has to be around 5,000 miles.
So I just have a weird question here as far as with regards to the ozone layer and that type of thing. How does that work with the flat Earth?
Well, according to Flat Earth, there's independent rocket kind of team that launched independent rocket and with the cameras and over U.S. And at around 73 miles, it hit something and then stopped and starting descent. So you can obviously hear the clunk as it hits the ceiling of some sort. It goes fast, fast, fast. You can see it on YouTube, and then it clinks and stops and starting falling. So it's 73 miles. And all the highest kind of air travel is around under that distance.
Yeah, so they keep under.
So there's some speculation that it might be a bell-shaped type of dome, maybe with the opening over North Pole that goes into the secondary dome where the sun and the moon at around 4,100, 5,000 miles from the Earth is that they're equal size and electric and spinning around in their respective orbits in the secondary dome. And in the third dome, there's all the projected stars that they're doing their respected kind of planetarium type of passages. And then there could be the waters above, as in the Bible said, separated from waters below in that...
So we really just don't know.
Well, there's a lot of speculation. All we know is that Antarctica kind of surrounding this flat plane, that the oceans are flat, water doesn't curve naturally. Yeah, it always finds its lowest point, So on the ocean, you can see left and right, it's all flat as a pancake. So the Antarctic wall surrounds it all.
But what about gravity, as far as that goes?
Well, gravity doesn't exist. All you need is density and surface tension. Like helium balloon rises because it's less dense than the surrounding air. That's why there's no gravity. So that's the wall. Gravity was invented by Newton to explain how the oceans don't fall off this like round Earth. It's all started with a Pythagorean kind of a school of mystery schools. As when initially there was 5th century BC, you have classic Greek culture with Pythagoreans who basically absorbed. He's considered to be first Mason. So at the time there were a bunch of ancient Egyptian and Sumerian various mystery schools of Babylon, and in Greek they kind of consolidated into one primary kind of mystery school.
Sasha. Okay. Now, so part of this is that there is a conspiracy. If it's true that the Earth is flat, part of what we're talking about is that there is some kind of conspiracy to give the false impression that the Earth is round. And NASA's in on the conspiracy. The whole space program is part of that to kind of prove, we obviously live in a space on a sphere because we have the picture of Earth from space.
Which has been faked.
Which is, arguably, and you can see videos about that on YouTube.
There's only 10 of them, I feel, and they're all different.
But why? What is the motivation of those who would perpetrate this round Earth theory if the world is really flat? Why would people be doing this?
Well, look, instead of being like that special place under, created by God or whatever you call it, advanced aliens or whoever designed this place, we obviously have special place in this situation where we're not just accidental evolutionary kind of a goo. We
are the point of creation.
One of the billions, trillions, irrelevant kind of accidents. We become point of creation and become something special instead of this Darwinian accident.
But why would anybody, or who would have an incentive to trick human beings into thinking that they're less significant than they are?
Well, I believe we're spiritual beings. On top of being physical beings, we obviously have our mind with a kind of value system of right and wrong, and so on, and then and our spiritual, moral, ethical kind of element. That's the kind of definition of the free choice, and that that's what I believe kind of brings that animation to human existence when we bring that purely kind of evolutionary dynamics of the survivability of the host body, of like a mineral kingdom from all the microcosm, as we connect with all the small particles and small biosystem of like microorganisms, from mineral to organic matter, to then creating connecting with plants and that part of our environment and sustainability plus animals, and then with humans, Homo sapiens means wise men. So we're bringing that a thinking element that connects the small structures and big structures into this symbiotic kind of harmony.
We'll always be questioning everything. We'll always be questioning, ourselves, as far as, we're going to be testing each other and trying to prove each other wrong on almost every point as far as things go. I mean, did we actually go to the moon or not?
That's what we're saying.
Exactly.
Well, it goes even down to who are we? What's our genome? What's our regions? And
what is the point of life?
Yeah, and so
point of existence.
And there are many discrepancies between conventional evolution theory of Darwin. It's been proven wrong many times. Species do not evolve. Ants do not evolve into elephants. There's just limits to what species can do. Yeah. So the humans. If we evolved from the apes, then why we have 46 chromosomes and all apes have 48 chromosomes? Why is it that we have a fat layer underneath our skin, whereas no other apes do, only marine animals do, like penguins and dolphins? we have a hair shaped by water, whereas no other apes do that. They have random pattern. We have less hair.
Fed propaganda.
We have less hair in the back, more in the front. All apes have more hair in the back, less in the front.
Some of those become professional wrestlers.
So there's a lot of questions of the human genome, which points to aquagenesis, no, in terms. So it's some kind of link between marine life and surface mammalian life. So we're like.
So what
What's
main
difference
point?
in blood types, like Rh negative, and they say that people who cannot reproduce with positive blood type groups of the conflict of immune systems.
Yeah.
And so the offsprings become infertile, or they have various diseases. So there's a mystery. So it points that most apes don't have O+ blood types. So so it shows that either A or B blood types were prior to O+. So there's an evolution of blood types, and Rh negative shows the diversity of humankind. So we're not cookie cut. There's shows more complex evolution than just a simplistic explanation.
Or maybe no evolution at all, right?
Well, there is evolution, but in the same time there is certain limits to what extent the genome can evolve. The species can mutate to a certain point until they reach their boundaries and then revert back to
when do you think that
genome.
is going to be? Do you think that we have mutated to our current
we're not one,
state, or do you think we're going to evolve further?
My point is that humans are not very homogeneous. There are different types of blood type, body types, and and spiritual types as well, which we obviously, the genetics I see is more partly is inherited from our Y chromosome, which is on the patriarchal father line. That's your kind of inherit genetical attributes, and then X chromosome, it's what gets rewritten at the other generation as things evolve and improve.
So for a grade 8 level, everybody who's watching who's more or less based at a grade 8 level of concept of great, okay, we now have a flat Earth. What would you like to convey to them so that they start thinking about things in a different way?
Well, the idea is that you trust your senses, you trust your empirical observations. You ask questions that in school they usually teach people to memorize and repeat instead of think and critically think.
Thank you. Yes.
And so, point is to observe, witness empirical facts, and then you can. Answer your big questions of what the shape of the. I mean, according to mainstream science, if you look, Neil deGrasse Tyson says it's like a pear-shaped world, or they say it's obloid, spheroid, figure at the equator. If you look at NASA pictures, it's complete perfect circle, and meanwhile they're all different from one to another. So the bottom line is that what do people want to have as an answer for their own curiosity? Do they want to have some kind of fairy tale concocted by the whoever?
I think it's wonderful that you're making people question that,
Yeah, thank you.
I just want to say that the other point besides trying to get to the idea of why somebody would do this, right? So it really takes away from the idea that we are the point of creation. It puts these people, these so-called experts, instead of us being able to accept our own first-hand sensory experience of the world, we go, we have to rely on experts, someone who's a scientist or someone who's supposedly. It's kind of now we're putting our trust in someone else other than us. So we no longer are trusting ourselves, thinking for ourselves, being all that we can be. We have to rely on these so-called experts now, scientists.
Well, because it's the way it's built, it's starting from the century BC. That's with Pythagoras. That's created esoteric and exoteric science, meaning the esoteric, the inner science, that's a hidden science, hence the word magic. It's a Persian word magia, which refers to hidden knowledge. Like magician knows the trick, how it's done. Audience entertained by the fact that they don't know how it's done. So versus scientia in Latin means also knowledge. But it's a science, meaning open knowledge, which for scientific method it's expressed as this is what you do, and then other people can verify it, or you can repeat this method, and you get your final predictable result. And that's the science is something that is open and shared. And so within that, when it became split between hidden knowledge that is only a certain small group of people knows, versus the open knowledge, which is like everyone knows and what is widely publicized, there became a discrepancy where the hidden knowledge became a reflecting of the truth, and then what's been publicly been promoted and shared as supposed science is skewed to a point of like what we have today, where people don't know what to believe anymore.
Well, you see, we have a small problem because Hugh has touched.
Do you want this little cream? Will this get it off? Because I think it's nice. I just want to say hi to Todd because he's in Roberts Creek and he's been telling everybody about flat Earth. And everybody back home, like, we just needed this information that you're just giving us right now. So Todd's watching in Roberts Creek, and hey, man.
Hi, Todd.
Like, this is
in
the
Roberts
guy
Creek.
who's back in your cheeks.
Well, we're all
and we're questioning things, you know, and I think that makes it it makes it real.
And so what happened, let me think, with the Pythagoras first set up this kind of ideas of the ball Earth, but then they didn't obviously implement it with Herodotus and implementing as a father of history the narrative of the multiple plots narrated, so which is good for that scientific explanation. You have plot A, plot B, plot C, and all narrative intertwined into one narrative. And so then you have the Plato, who is introducing the laws and perfect man ideas in a society. And then you have Aristotle, who teaches Alexander the Great all this stuff and starts Alexandrian library. Then in about 200 BC, all the scriptures, the Tanakh is written. And then they have about 160 BC, you have Ptolemy with now putting sphere Earth in the center of that Earth-centric model. Instead of what they did first, they replaced flat Earth in the center of the world with a round Earth at first, with Ptolemy's model. Yeah. And then about 600, 700 years later with Copernicus, then they finally replaced the Earth, round Earth, stationary round Earth in the center with a heliocentric, with the Earth spinning around the sun. Of course, with that model, Copernicus model, where the sun now in the center and everything spinning around it, they needed to create gravity. So hence comes Newton explaining gravity and all these laws associated with explain those movements of the bodies. And then then you have the Einstein coming with his general relativity, which is actually was taken from Henry Poincaré, who made a mental exercise and never thought to take it seriously. And then they, which is basically explaining electromagnetism for gravitational supposed forces, which is the weakest force supposedly. Yeah. So they reworked it from French to German and from German to English. And then Einstein announced it to the world as a great discovery of the general relativity. Of course, they're trying to explain a Michelson-Morley experiment, which proved that the
there was no ether.
That there's no.
They made a mistake. They put the machine in the basement. They should have put the machine in the attic. Then they would have found the ether.
So
right?
they tried to show the movement of the Earth, and they couldn't prove that.
Yeah.
And so Einstein came to with general relativity, trying to patch the holes of Michelson-Morley experiment.
Okay, dude, listen.
They haven't drilled a hole between one side and the other yet, have they?
I started it once in my backyard, but I only got down a few feet.
Well, Russians did drilled a big drill. It's called. They drilled as far as they could go, 8 miles deep, and still didn't find anything.
Yeah, I know. Okay, dude, listen, we could talk all day about this stuff, but it is really interesting, this flat Earth stuff, and it's not just something you should write off. It's something, it's what it means in terms of what is the meaning of life, what is our position as individuals, what is mankind all about, because it makes us from being totally obscure and irrelevant to being the point of all of creation.
Because and then, of course, it creates that Big Bang, a need for Big Bang, expanding space, and then they had to create black holes to explain galaxies not falling. Then they had to create dark matter, dark energy, and it's all dark, and all based on lie.
Yeah, but a black hole did sneak up on me once. It got right behind me.
Oh, no. We don't want to know what that is.
No. Okay, Sasha, listen, let's give out your contact info. And I know you're developing games and you're doing web development, and so
art and my Pentagon tile.
Exactly.
Pentagon
another time. Where can people get in touch with you?
Well, my website is theuniverse.name. It's my virtual universe. It's $19.99. I just created it as an alternative.
The universe.
.name.
Yeah, as an alternative way of how the web pages can look like as an environment.
But when you built that, you fell for the sphere model, didn't you?
Yeah, and it's true. And I decided to keep it that way because at the time I didn't know about flat Earth. I didn't pay attention to it. And so it is a round Earth there of the picture in the moon base. You can go visit the moon base.
Well, it makes us question everything. This is beautiful.
Question everything. Okay, we're going to take a little break. Sasha, thanks for doing this.
Thank you.
You're welcome here anytime. Great to be reconnecting with you this year. We're going to take a little break, come back with much more right here on Liquid Lunch.
Great.
And there's Boyd from the Freenet is in the house.
Oh, my goodness. Freenet.